Hey, you know what, the big bad black sheep, hot of fire, not a pretender, a liar. And it's another reasoning, yeah? I trust that you're well, and so far you're having a pleasant week. So, today's topic is about divine femininity and versus the Jezebel spirit. So, one of the reasons why I want to even, share my insights on this topic, yeah, observing from the time growing up, to my adulthood now, interacting with other feminine energy, it's been bittersweet, and a woman is toxic, when she can't control her emotions, her jealousy, yeah? She can't control her need for attention, yeah? So, you have the higher nature, which is divine femininity, and you have the lower nature, which is the female nature. I call it female nature, the lowest. And it's like these women operate like Jezebel, based off of my observation. Yeah. But before I get into the topic, I would like to give you the definitions, of both, meanings. But, divine feminine refers to a spiritual concept that embodies qualities traditionally associated with femininity, such as intuition, creativity, receptivity, and nurturing. It represents a balance to the divine masculine, which is often linked to logic and reasoning. The divine feminine is seen as a paradigm of universal motherhood, accessible to all individuals regardless of gender, and encourages embracing emotional depth and spiritual qualities. This concept has a rich history in various spiritual and mystical practices, promoting balance and harmony in life. Yeah. A divine woman is a peaceful woman. And it's not like say she's a pushover, but there's a way to do things most times, I believe that it's not what you do most times, it's how you do it, Yeah. So, the meaning of Jezebel now, the characteristics. An immoral woman who is generally shameless and not morally restrained. A woman who leads other people into adultery and sin. A prostitute or disreputable woman, often used figuratively to describe impudent or shameless behavior. So, I'm gonna give a few pointers, with the difference between divine feminine and the Jezebel's woman. These are things that I've written out of my personal domain. And what do I call my domain? My brain. It's my dome, you know. Yeah. Divine feminines are secure women who enjoy their own company and peace, which Jezebel's spirited woman cannot do. Jezebels thrive to create chaos and drama amongst others and themselves, desperate for attention and validation and control. Now, I know I can't change anybody, but I can change myself. I know that not all attention is good attention, because the intention behind it, you know, says and will, you know, it will show the let me see. Ooh, all right. So the intention behind, you know, the motive is not all that good most of the times. You know, most people don't have pure intention, and that is a hard lesson that I've learned, you know. And to share even a bit of my experience being as a musician, you know, and going around other female artists, right? A lot of them are intimidated by me. I do not give a fuck. Why? I see it as pointless anyway, because if you want to learn something from me, I don't gatekeep knowledge. I can give you, and you can use it for yourself, to better yourself. So, when a female thinks that I care to compete with her for a position, you know, which doesn't even really exist to me, because I'm in my own lane. I compete with my own self, you know. I am my own problem, and I have to deal with that. So I can't really focus on other people, yeah, and let myself just get loose like that. But yeah, let's get to the other point. Divine feminines inspire and uplift themselves and others around them. They understand that helping another woman does not take from her or dims her shine. Jezebels are jealous and envious of others doing better or their own thing, thinking everything is a competition or a threat to their fragile egos. Now, I've talked about the male ego, but the female ego is so coverted. Like, women are so coverted with their jealousy and their hate, you know. They can hide it better than men. Yeah, I feel like. And even though when a woman don't like you, she won't hide it, you know. But in the case of the women that is like Jezebels, they are great pretenders. And I've observed a few, you know, even recently in last year, you know, even in previous video where I explained about my experience with a musical mentor. Yeah. And I've never said anything about this one, but I've came across, you know, cross path with this female that was a tarot reader. Now, I know I'm very taboo, you know, and it's not in a way where it has to do anything with sexuality, but with knowledge and, things that are outside of the box. Yeah. I like strange things, things that are different, that can give you, a different perspective to look at things, But what I've experienced and observed with those two females is that they are great pretenders, right? They are covert narcissists. And why I say this, because they think that, even the one that reads tarot, she has a God complex. Like, that shit amazes me, cause what the fuck? You are so desperate for attention and validation that you want to put yourself as God. And I'm not trying to downplay any female that calls themselves a goddess. You are, but when you want to play the role as God, my friend, as the all source, divine source, life will humble you, truly, yeah, because you can't control nothing outside of yourself. And if you can't control yourself, then you're causing more harm to others, because there's no space for self-awareness at all. Yeah. And yeah, I think they need help. And this is not to bash, but I don't think it is even smart to be going around, trying to cause others downfall because you feel fucked up inside, Like, come on. Pick yourself up and do some work. Look at yourself, And I realize these females don't like looking at themselves. And they like to use people with empathy, as scapegoats, as a way to wash themselves clean, from their negative energies that they embody. They like sympathy. They like to play the victim, right? And I stay far away from females like that. Yeah. As much as I talk about males and the nature of them, yeah, I don't go around and try to inflict pain on them, trying to belittle them to feel better about myself. I rather to just ignore them and just go on with my life. No, these types of women will try to emasculate men. Yeah? Because they have no boundaries and they can't respect others' boundaries. So, let me get into the other point. Divine feminines never compare themselves to others because simply they are comfortable in their own skin, being authentic as they are. Jezebels have no real identity. They rather to wear a mask than to be themselves, just to please others, to get what they want. which is breadcrumbs most of the times. Now, these two women, what I noticed is that when we conversate, one-on-one, alone, it is fine. It is fine. But when, let's say, others come in the mix, they become different people. Yeah? Their mass, they switch over to a different mass. They're not genuine women. These women can't keep up with genuinity because they always have a motive. Yeah? They're always judging, comparing others to themselves. Now, the musical mentor, I remember one time she came to me and was talking about another artist girl. Yeah. And being who I am, I shut that down. Right? Because there's a saying that says, rumor is spread by fools. Yeah? And something another about spread by, whatever. But truly what I'm saying is that when it reaches a wise person's ears, it ends. And she was trying to put me up against another female. It didn't work. She said that it doesn't work with me. Yeah? I don't care to be no head honcho bitch over no women. I have no desire to have control over women. Yeah? I want to teach them what I know. Yeah? Help them if I can. But as far as having control, having them around in my face, yeah? No. And I know a lot of women that are like this. They like women group up so they can have control, And it's sick. It's fucking sick. Like, come on. Go pour into yourself. But yeah. But in another sense, it ended up that she group up with two other artist females just to, come up against me. So they see me come on the scene and they think that I'm just this meek person. I love peace. I don't trouble people. You don't trouble me, I don't trouble you. Yeah? But what they don't understand is that, you see, where I grew up and who I grew up around, I have a lot of brothers, so I'm a person that likes challenges, because my brothers challenge me, and that has built my confidence. So I'm a laid back person. I don't need to be hyped up and, seeking attention. No. And I'm not competitive either, but if you give me a challenge, I'm up for that shit. But yeah, I go at my own rhythm, and I go at my own pace, because I do things differently. I make sure it's done properly, not to just do it and say it's done, and yeah. I put my all into things, That's just who I am. And maybe others do things differently, and that's fine, They do things the way they like. I do things the way I like, Oh yeah. just observing these females, I took nothing personal. Because first, it was never my first rodeo, you know, dealing with gossip and rumors and people coming up against me. Like, it's not my first. And I don't care. Yeah, because I'm in my own lane. I have things that I have to deal with. Myself, I have to deal with, you know. And speaking about divine femininity, saying, you know, in the definition that it's a universe, it's like universal motherhood. I noticed that some males and females want women to mother them. I advise no one to do that. Mother yourself, yeah? I mother myself. I pour into myself the way a mother would do, you know. And it helps with my healing. That's how you take care of yourself. And me pouring into myself, I am able to overflow onto others, you know. So it balances naturally. So let's move on. Divine feminines have silent confidence. They are not threatened by opinions of others or the accomplishments of others. Jezebel women have false confidence, which masks the insecure arrogance they try to hide with grandiosity and backhand insults. No, I've had a lot of insults thrown at me, and I do nothing, because at the end of the day, if you can't come out straightforward and tell me something, and you're not really putting your hands on me, you know, you can say whatever the fuck you want to say, you know. Just don't make your spit catch me either. Yeah, don't make me smell your breath. Say what you want to say, you know. Yeah, it's not my problem. Because, you know, sometimes you will be eager to answer back, you know. But when you let even the silence just speak, you know, and reverberate back every word that person says back to them, you know, you not saying nothing allows them to hear themselves, yeah. And most times they will end up crawling into their shells back again, you know. So it will solve itself. Yeah, next point. Divine feminines have control and sexual discipline. Jezebel women use their bodies as a currency in the world. No woman that can't control her mouth or vagina can't give me no advice. Can't be no mentor to me. No friend. Because I know that energy, you know, I as an empath, I take on energies. So that is not something that I would want to take on and embody for myself. Yeah. And sex is a part of female nature. But when you have no discipline, man, yeah, you have no true sense of logic and self. No connection to your mind and your heart. You just let your body just run on autopilot. those types of things will cause you to be a liability in life, even to your own self. And from a young age, you have made some mistakes, but as far as, you know, going around and sleeping around, I understand that, you know, I had to control myself because, for one, I don't want to bring children into the situation that I am in, you know. It's like somewhat I had a sense of what the assignment was, you know, working on myself, because I've had my lowest moments, you know, my lower nature tendency, where I'm happy that I've had mirrors, you know, reflecting back, you know, my state for me to really see, and I'm glad I was receptive to that, you know. But yeah, growing up with even brothers, you know, I saw male nature firsthand, so males were never really an interest for me growing up, you know. And I always say that I know that most males are not clean, and I like my space clean, so I always tell myself, like, I can't deal with that, you know. And if any male come around me and he not clean, he must go, you know. Because I'm not going to be nobody mother. No dear. You see, that some people want. They want you to clean up half of them and things. Like, grow the fuck up. Shit. So, I'm going to give this last point before I cut this and go into part 2. Yeah? Alright. So, divine feminine think before they act or speak. These women are mindful and purposeful of the things they do and say, because they know and understand these are ways of planting seed in others and the world. Jezebel women are spiteful, manipulative, and careless with their words and actions. They lack true wisdom and have poor understanding skills. Yeah. I know some women, like, I see what even some men have to deal with, because no matter what you say to them, you know, once it makes them feel bad, it's something bad, even if it's the truth, you know. And I think that is just diabolical, because the truth is the truth, whether you want to like it or not, you know. And to really change is, in fact, how many truths you can accept, even about yourself, you know, without turning away. Yeah. None of us are easy to live with. Yeah. But some of us are more easier to work with, I guess. Yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna end this right here. I'm going to see you in part 2.